everyone, I'm Savannah Kepley. I'm a middle school language arts teacher, and I am here to talk to my number one type B teachers, or number two teachers who are not ready to go back to school after winter break, so you have nothing planned. So I'm a middle school language arts teacher. I understand how much you don't want to go back. I mean, I love my job, but I also love the calm and that peaceful feeling of winter break. So it's a little bit of a struggle, right, to get back into the groove of things. I get it. And so because of that, I do have a couple of resources, ideas, activities that you can use when you go back to school that are low prep or no prep. You just download and go. And I'm going to show those to you. There's 4 of them, 4 options for you. And then I'm going to tell you at the end which one I'm going to be doing with my students. So here we go, let's take a look at them. The first activity is the one-word goal setting activity. And you probably have seen this a lot of places where students select a word, or anybody can select a word, and that could be their word for 2025 or whatever year that you're watching this, and they can live out that word. And I think that's great. I like how it simplifies the goal setting process into one word. However, just creating the one word would take like 3 seconds and maybe not be as meaningful for your students. So I created a little activity for them to help them select their word and make that word meaningful to them. So let me show you what it looks like. This is the one word goal setting activity. So with this activity, students pick one word that they want to focus on this year. And so when we are at this stage where I want students to pick their own word, I encourage them to think about what they want to change for the new year, what they want to focus on, what's one thing that they want to really hone in on for the new year that maybe is something they struggled with last year. And so they pick one word that they want to focus on. I do have some examples here for them. And then after they have that one word, these are going to be 6 writing prompts where they will make it meaningful. And you can share this presentation with your students. And so it says, why is this your word? And they explain in 1 to 2 sentences why they selected the word, how they will make it happen. So these are the action steps they're going to take to make the word part of their daily life. Who can hold you accountable? So these are people that they will work with them to help them achieve their goal and give them a little motivation when they're falling short. And I encourage students to be like, tell this person, hey, my word this year is happy. So if you see me complaining and acting negative, can you remind me in a gentle way that happiness is my goal? So who can hold them accountable? Then how will they handle challenges? And this is important in goal setting, right? Where you think ahead of the challenges that you're going to face and how you're going to solve those challenges, because not everything's going to be smooth sailing. And then when you hit these challenges, and if you haven't thought about it, you're automatically going to default to your previous self and the self that the self that you're working on. And so we want to respond to these challenges as our future self, the one that's living out this word, the one that's living out the happy word. So how would that person respond to the challenges? That's what I tell my students. Next, and I think this is important because feelings are super important when you're goal setting. I know that sounds weird, but I want students to capture the feeling of how they will feel when they live out this word. At the end of the year, if you have spent the majority of that year feeling that happiness, how will you feel about yourself? Will you feel proud, overjoyed, excited? I want them to feel those feelings so they can really connect to the end process. And then what does this word mean to you? Why is the word meaningful? And then what's so special about that word? What I really love about this activity is after they go through the writing prompts, well, number 1, it has writing, so that's great too. And number 2, after they go through the writing prompts, I have this one word or one pager for this one word where they write the one word in the middle, and then they can answer the questions on the outside. And this makes for a great classroom display or bulletin board or anything like that. So that is also an option if you're doing this activity. The next one is a little bit more intensive activity. It could take a whole class period, and or maybe even 2 class periods if you need that kind of thing. And this is called New Year, New Goal. It walks students through the reflection process, so they're thinking about what they did good last year, maybe what they need to change, some big time wasting habits that they had. And so it walks them through that, and then it's like, what do you want to focus on? Like, what will your ideal life be like at the end of this year? So what will you be doing academically? What will you be doing personally? Where will your relationships be? So it gives them a little brainstorming process for that. And then after that, they think about their ideal life, and they set 3 goals, and I call them grow goals. So let me show you those right here. And so what they do here is they write down their goal, and then where they are now, like reality, we need to focus on, like, just call out what we're doing right now and why this is a goal. We're going to organize ourselves, and then how it will be at the end. And then what I have down here in the speaker notes is little writing prompts for students. I want them to write the goal in positive language. For the reality section, I want them to be real about where they are and what's keeping them from the goal right now. Then what do you need to do to make this goal a reality? So listing action steps. And then what will it feel like when you accomplish this goal? So these are the steps to make a grow goal. If you see, it's GROW. How cute is that? Love it. Grow goals. If you see up here, they have an academic goal, a personal goal, and then a relationship goal. Finally, they have the vision board activity at the very end, where they can select images or quotes or anything like that that represents the kind of person they want to be at the end of the year, that represents the goals that they just set. So they can insert the images, insert the words, insert the quotes, with kind of like a Pinterest board, but on like one Google slide. And then they can save that. You can print it out for them. They can put it in their notebook. Also, you could use this for a classroom display as well. So that's a really good idea for this one. So that's the second one. That one's a little bit more intensive, I think, because of the different writing prompts and the goal setting activity, and then the digital vision board. That could take 2 class periods if you wanted to. I know going back, sometimes we want things to last a little bit longer, right? We want to get back into the groove of things. So that would be a good option for you. Option 3 is maybe not focusing on goal setting, but focusing on more mindset. So this is the growth mindset mini lesson. And let me show it to you right here. This is the Exploring Growth Mindset resource. Students start with this little hook journal question about do you think you can get smarter over time, or is your intelligence level determined at birth? So it kind of gets them picking a side, and then this activity will either confirm their thoughts or maybe help shift their thinking. Then I show them this video, and after the video, it's not very long, it's about 3 minutes. I want them to write about their biggest takeaway from the video, and then they can type in these boxes here. And then they watch this other one where it compares and contrasts fixed mindset and growth mindset. And I usually show this to the class, and then they can write in these boxes on their own screen. Before I give them this definition, I have students work in their groups to come up with their own definition of growth mindset based on the 2 videos. So they write it down on whiteboards, and then I show them my fancy smancy definition, and we'll see if it matches theirs. That's always a great strategy for them to come up with the definition first, and then you show them the definition. It helps them really internalize it and remember it. So there's the growth mindset definition. And then I have 3 examples for them of people that they might recognize or know that have a growth mindset. Then, just to review what we learned, I have them answer, when do we grow the most and how are our brains like muscles? And those are based on the videos that they just watched. And then I have 5 journal questions here. And you can do these one a day or all at one time. And this is just a reflection journal and about developing, and helps students develop a growth mindset. and they can answer it on here or on notebook paper. You do one a day, or you could do them all at one time. I love growth mindset. I love teaching students about growth mindset because sometimes we can't control their environment and what they go home to, and they hear a lot of negative things and they start thinking these negative things about themselves. And so this growth mindset shows them that they're not stuck there of what they perceive themselves to be like. We can always change, we can always grow, and it's science. Like, people have done it, they've studied it. Growth mindset is a real thing. So intelligence is not fixed, and I love teaching students this. And so this one has those collection of journal prompts, which I think are great. You can either do those one a day to kind of reinforce the growth mindset. So that first week back, you could start off with a reflection journal every day that really focuses on building and developing that growth mindset, or you can do them all at one time if you want a whole class period activity. So that's the growth mindset activity, and that's activity number 3, or option number 3. And then finally we have option number 4. And option number 4 goes into like a story. And so if you're an English language arts teacher like me and you want to incorporate some reading into your classroom when you get back, this is a great way to do it. I use the story After 20 Years by O. Henry. Let me show you the activity right here. This is the After 20 Years analysis activity. Students will start off with a journal question where they imagine it's 20 years from now and you walk into your favorite coffee shop, a person taps you on the shoulder, it's your best friend from today, but they look very different. Maybe they've changed in ways you wouldn't expect. And then I give them 3 options. And then I'm going to have my students move to different parts of the room. Like if you have option A, you're going to go one wall, option B to the back, option C to the other wall. And then they are going to get with these people that had the same option or pick the same option as them. And they're going to talk about it. Like, why did they choose that response? And I'm going to set the timer, give them 2 minutes to talk about it. And then I want them to come back to their tables and they're going to write their explanation in this box. I'm sharing these slides with my students, and so they can type in those boxes. Then they're going to read After 20 Years. I'm going to have them read it with their small groups that they are in. And as they read, they're going to do these different jots right here. And if you are unfamiliar with how I do jots and annotations with reading, I will link a video below that talks about that process. Basically, what it is I want them to do a doodle of the setting, some hashtags about the character, hashtag about the second character. I want them to jot down any questions they have. At the end, it does kind of have a twist ending. So at the end, I want them to write about their reaction and then what motivated the characters to do what they did. That's basically what they're going to be jotting while reading. Then I have just 6 basic questions to make sure that they read the story. Then I have 3 standards-based questions that kind of go a little bit deeper. And then finally 1 constructive response, what I call an RTQT question, where they will use text evidence to support their answer. So this will be 4-sentence response explaining how the ending affected the story. So I want them to talk about the irony. And we talked about irony as a class before Christmas break. So for my students, this should be something we can do. We'll see. And then finally, this is the part where it connects to the New Year's activity. They're going to write an email to their future self, and not their 20-year self. They're like 20-week self. So where they're going to be at the end of the school year. And I want them to reflect on their goals that they've talked about in other classes, friendships, personal growth. And then they will use this slide right here to help them. And then I give them instructions about how to send and write the email. Now you can have students, they are going to schedule it. You can also have them either A, show it to you before they send it, or B, carbon copy you, like send you a copy and then schedule it for themselves if you want to read what they write. The reason why I think this is a great New Year's activity is the email to yourself that students can schedule in Gmail. So they write their email to themselves about where they want to see themselves, not in 20 years, but you know, maybe 20 weeks. Where do we see ourselves at the end of these 20 weeks and the type of person that they want to be? So they type this email to themselves and then schedule it to send to them at the end of the school year, which I think is pretty cool. And I like that activity as well. So like I promised, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do in my classroom with my 7th grade middle school students. I'm doing, drum roll please, I am doing the after 20 years activity. I love the other activities, but some of the other teachers on my 7th grade team are doing some goal setting activities with their students, which is great. But I don't want to burn my students out on goal setting. And so they're like, oh, we're doing this goal setting thing again in another class. I get that, right? So I'm gonna let my other teacher friends do their goal setting activities, and then when they come to me, we're gonna read After 20 Years, where we learn about a guy and what happens to him after 20 years. If you haven't read it, it's great. It has a great twist ending, which also incorporates well into irony. So check that out. And so then they can write the letter to themselves, which will be a great reflection process as well, but it's not goal setting. If you're loving these ideas and would like to use some of these for your classroom, if you're ready to download and go, I have them available in 2 spots for you. The first is you can buy them independently, individually from Teachers Pay Teachers, everything except After 20 Years. I don't have that loaded up yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll have it loaded by the time you're watching this video. I don't know. You'll have to check it out. If I do, it's linked below. Or you can bundle all of these activities and more if you're an English language arts teacher. Then all of these are available on ELA Unlimited, where you pay one low price and you can download everything that you need and use it in your classroom. So that is an option as well. I hope this helps. I hope this helps you feel prepared for after winter break, when it can be a little bit of a struggle. I do hope that you have a positive start to your new year, and I also hope that these resources help you get there. If you have any questions, let me know, and until next time, happy teaching. Bye.